Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is John with Loving is Key. And today we are going to be doing a meditation on how to embrace change. But before we do that meditation, there's some things that we need to talk about, right? So, first of all, I would like to say thank you to each and every one of you that subscribed to the channel. Thanks for sharing my videos. Thanks for reaching out to me and discussing what we talk about the previous week. And thanks for reaching out and talking about whatever it is that we want to talk about. As you all know, here at Loving is Key, this channel is about sharing and caring and how we can learn from each other. So I am so happy and grateful that there is a lot of engagement going on. And I wish just for more. Just let's make this year 2025 and whatever year after the best possible time of our lives. And as we talk about the best possible time of our lives, how perfect it is to talk about change and how to embrace change. So, I am not sure if any of you have said these words. I have said them so many times. Change is constant. Be the change that you want to see in the world. What else do we talk about change? Oh, we also have this belief system that, oh, if you're 65, if you are 70, you can't change. You're too old to change. We say all these things about change. So as we go into talking about this issue, or this moment, I should say, change and how we embrace change, I invite you to think about your belief systems around change. Think about what is something that you always say that makes it very difficult for you to embrace change. And as we go through this moment here, and then when we do the meditation, let's start embracing change and let's start clearing out that old belief system that it's making it very hard for us to embrace change. So I'll share with you, I had a moment with, and I've learned this for a while and have been practicing this, but what I have realized in my life as I continue to grow, and I'm sure many of you have the same thing, as you continue to develop and evolve and become the best version of yourselves whenever you decide to work on that, there's always learning that's happening. And during this time in my life, especially, I'm realizing it even more. I have to, in every sense of the word, depend on this great big God of ours. Um, Only through God am I able to do what I do. Am I able to grow? Am I able to really and truly sit in spaces that is so uncomfortable? Only through God's grace and mercy am I able to do that. Only through God am I able to really and truly work on embracing change. Because, as you know, it's very difficult. But I wanted to share with you something that I learned from a yogi. And this was about 4 or 5 years ago. And I was talking to him about change. How do we embrace change? We always say we should change, but it's one of the hardest things for us humans to do. And why? So, what he explained to me, he said, Jean, we say these things, you're right, that we should change and we should embrace change, and change is constant. But we just say it. We don't emotionalize and internalize it. And I'm like, so what do you mean about by emotionalize and internalize? So he said, I mean practice. We can say it, which is good, but we have to put it into practice like anything else. Anything that we want to develop, we have to put into practice so it becomes a habit. At that point, I was like, okay, check mark. I get that. But still, how do I do this? So he said, okay, your one of your go-to is change is constant, right? And I said, yes. So he said, okay, let's take this down to our senses. We have five senses. Let's start with the sense of hearing. So he said, one of the best things to do to start realizing and embracing change is to sit in silence. Silence is powerful. He said, sit in silence. And I invite you to do that with me right now. Sit in silence for a moment. Notice what you're hearing. Notice what comes across the screen of your mind. Notice the thoughts. They come and they go, just like clouds in the sky. It's always changing, it's constant. He said, listen to your breathing. Now think about an exciting moment that happens as you're listening. Notice how your breath changes. And I was amazed just by that simple task that he did, right? So he went to hearing, and then he talked about seeing. He said, I want you to look at my five fingers. He said, you see my five fingers. He said, now there's a change, right? You're seeing four and you see me holding one. So he's showing me in practical sense, change is always happening. So I did hearing, I did seeing, then he did with smell. He had some incense. So he lit one of the incense and I smelled this nice lavender scent. He said, what does it smell like? I said, lavender. So he took that, he out that one, right? He, how should I say, smudged it out. And then he lit another one. He said, what does this smell like? I said, sage. And he went on and on. He said, you see what I mean? There's change always happening right before our eyes, but we are not taking notice of these changes. And I'm like, gosh, you're so right. So we did smell, we did hearing, we did seeing. He said, no, I want you to touch yourself, right? Touch yourself and now hit your hands. It feels different, right? He said, that's change. We have to start looking at change from all aspects. This is what he was telling me. And I was amazed. I was so amazed by this. And I said, I need to practice this. But he cautioned me. He said, let me tell you something. Yes, change is constant, but you can't see it as a goal to attain because remember, it's constant. So as things changes, as I change, as I evolve, so is the world. So are things that will come to me that might make me stop for a moment, make me slide back from where I really started and realize that, you know what? It's going to be a journey for the rest of your life. And when he said that, I start laughing. I said, yeah, you're right. So I like what he did about showing how to embrace change. And then he said, one last thing, John. When is your birthday? So I told him when is my birthday? He said, okay, that's a year from now. I said, yeah. He said, do you think not until your birthday did you change? He said, we must understand that as we say change is constant, every single second of every single moment, we are changing, we are aging. This is why when we're a baby, we don't look like how we look now at 50, 57. We're changing. And like he said, so many of us put so much money into trying to stop aging. And that's telling him, he said, it's telling him that we're not thinking because change is going to come no matter what. It won't stop. That's just how it is. So that's my little thing that I'll tell you about change. And in the next video, you could click on that next video and we will go into the meditation. But I invite you to think about that, okay? Think about how you're going to start embracing change. And if you could start using the five senses to start realizing and embracing change from even that level. So he really took it down to micro for me and made me understand that. And I said, you know what? The way the world is, there's so many things going on. And for whatever reason, there's so much uncertainty. There's so much shifting that's happening. And we have been used to a way of everything just being the way it is. And this is the way it's going to work. And we're in control and all that. And not realizing, like he said, there's a much bigger God that is in control. So let's start working on embracing change. So that's what I'm saying for you today. For this week, let's work on how each of us are going to embrace change. And again, I invite you to please engage with me, call me, let's share and let's learn from each other. Okay? Thank you and have a fantastic Sunday and a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. See you later and see you in the next video as I do the meditation.